The government says it's about to get even tougher with employers who abuse a temporary foreign worker program. The measures could include penalties as steep as $100,000 fines and a lifetime ban from the program. But would these measures stamp out abuse, or could they make it even more difficult for some businesses to hire workers? Joining me from the foyer of the House of Commons is Scott Armstrong, who's a parliamentary secretary to the Minister of Employment and Social Development. Roger Cuzner is a Liberal critic for human resources and skills development. And Jinny Sims is in Vancouver. She is the NDP's employment and social development critic. Welcome to you all.
Thank you.
Scott, I just, have a listen first to what the Alberta Urban Municipalities Association President Helen Rice had to say today. She was responding to a question about Jason Kenney not listening to Alberta's concerns about the temporary foreign worker program.
What concerns me about that, that's kind of like, hello, are you listening to us out there? This is a guy that federally represents Alberta. Like, what part of this is hurting us does he not understand? That was not scripted, Karen, I'm sorry.
There you have it, Scott. Lots of concern. Is this becoming a political issue more than even an economic issue for the government?
Well, if you increase penalties for people who abuse a program, if they're following the rules, they have nothing to worry about. So this concern that us cracking down, increasing the penalties for people who actually abuse the program, that should make people who actually follow the rules happier, because it means that the program has some accountability and some integrity. And we've heard from business groups and employers all across the country last spring and including all through the summer, saying that what we really need to do is have tougher penalties in place so that people who violate the program will be held accountable.
No, fair enough, Scott, but I think you're also hearing, though, from businesses who say we can't survive without the temporary foreign worker program in places like Alberta, which, after all, is a place where the Conservative government draws a lot of its strength. So what about the politics of this?
Well, this is why you're allowed to continue to use the program in areas of high unemployment. They still have access to the low-wage stream in the restaurant industry and in the retail industry, whereas in places that have high unemployment, 14% double-digit employment in other areas of the country, they don't have access to that low stream of temporary foreign workers. So we have made adjustments within the program for areas of high unemployment and areas of low unemployment like Alberta. All
right, Jinny Sims, what do you think about the new regulations that will increase penalties to people found to be abusing the program?
Well, first of all, this government used Kijiji map and opened up the floodgates that led to very, very high number of temporary foreign workers. And we saw cases like the McDonald's or the Royal Bank and the oil patch, where Canadians were either not being hired or were being fired. And quite honestly, I was just in Alberta in September, and I was met with the iron workers, where I talked with qualified Canadians who could not get work. And they were saying, whereas temporary foreign workers were doing those jobs. Well, quite honestly, Evan, I think it's time for an independent review of this program. This government said last year they were going to get really strict. They were going to do inspections. By the end of June, not one inspection had been done. And now we're being told the penalties are going to be really high. We're pleased that they're going to go after the offenders. But what really concerns me is that they're not going to be doing on-site inspections for everybody. It seems like many of the inspections are going to be paper inspections. What kind of an inspection is that?
All right, Roger, what do you think?
Well, I recall back in 2007, Diane Finley was the minister responsible, and she, there was a great deal of fanfare around the fact that they took the shackles off this program, that they were going to make it easier and it was going to be quicker for employers to bring people in. And there were a number of cases of abuse, and the reaction of the government has been, both the NDP and the Liberals. We wanted to go into a full study, and I know Jenny had put forward a couple of motions. Myself, I've put forward a couple of motions to get this thing right. But they went ahead, and what he's done now, what the minister has done now, he's felt the need to push back the entire House so he could tighten the clothesline. And we're seeing businesses in Alberta. Well, I was in Manitoba this summer. We're seeing businesses in Western Canada especially being hurt by what's been undertaken by this government, we're seeing businesses penalized for crimes they didn't commit.
So are you saying that
the penalty stuff, Chris, that's the easy part. And we support that. That's the easy part. If somebody abuses the program, yes, they should be penalized. That's the easy part of this.
So, Scott, you heard that. That's the easy part. Do you accept that?
Well, I think what we have to do is ensure that we have a program that always ensures that the Canadian worker has first crack at any available job. And that's what we've done. In terms of the inspections, we've increased the fee for anyone to bring a temporary foreign worker into Canada to $1,000. That money is being used to hire more inspectors, and those inspectors will be doing on-site inspections. In fact, 1/4 of every business that has a temporary foreign worker will have an on-site inspection every year, and that will rotate. So we are going to have on-site inspections, and we have a tip line, we have a line people can call, we have a line people can email into. So if we get complaints about a certain business in a certain area, we'll have an inspector there. That's where the accountability is going to be in this program.
But I'm trying to understand what you say to companies that have relied on this program the way it was and are trying to obey the rules, but it's now hurting their business.
Well, they can't, listen, if they're in areas of low unemployment like we face in Alberta, in Saskatchewan, they still have access to the program. They still can apply for temporary foreign workers. Temporary foreign workers can still be approved. In areas of high unemployment, where there are Canadians available in the low-wage stream, they're not going to be able to bring them into the fast food operations, into the retail. So we've made changes within the program that actually take into account the labor situation in different parts of the country.
Roger, go ahead. I can see you want to get in there.
I want to really get into
Jinny, you go ahead first.
Well, here we go again. Instead of doing an independent review and actually changing a fundamentally flawed program, what they're trying to do is fix it here, fix it there, and as a result, they're not getting it right. First of all, this country was built by immigrants, people coming from different parts of the world. Most of our ancestors, except for our Aboriginal people who are from here, came as immigrants. But really, we don't want our businesses to be totally dependent on temporary foreign workers. We want jobs for Canadians first. We want the training, but we also want to make sure that if we have the need for additional labor, it's based on real data, not Kijiji math, not made-up data. And then let's take a look at doing this objectively and not haphazard. It's time for an independent review, because I don't think any of us trust this government to fix this program.
All right, an independent review. Roger, what's your fix?
Well, you know, there are several things that could be done. Certainly, you know, accountability now, you know, let's make sure that the postings are there, but, you know, that the people understand that, you know, if there are jobs available in those communities, that those jobs are advertised, and let's make sure that those things are being done. And I know that Jason had said earlier, you know, geez, these things aren't being done, but it's been under the purview of his government. It's been, you know, it's been his business now the last 8 years, and they haven't cleaned it up. Again, you know, it's easy to go back and say, guys, you know, we told you this was going to happen. We've got a whole pocket full of I told you so's. That doesn't help the businesses now that are being handcuffed by the actions undertaken by this
last
government.
word quickly to you, Scott. How do you take away those handcuffs?
Well, first of all, when Jinny was talking about immigrants, so these aren't immigrants we're talking about here. These are temporary foreign workers. The idea behind this program was to bring in people temporarily to fill in areas that have acute labor shortages over a short amount of times. And there are many immigrants across the country who are doing these jobs already. They're working in all facets of Canadian life. We've done a great job of
recruiting immigrants from across the country. No, but I asked you about how you take the shackles off of these companies that are being hurt by the changes.
Well, listen, the changes we're talking about today are an increase in penalties. This is what the business community has asked for. So we're increasing the penalties for those who abuse the program. That will add some integrity and some accountability within the system, and that will support anyone who is following the rules.
All right, I'll have to leave it there. Scott Armstrong, Jinny Sims, and Roger Cusner, thanks for your time today.
Thank you.
Great, Chris. Thanks.